Life has been busy lately, to say the least. I remember a time when I was younger thinking that I had reached my capacity for busyness, and that was just managing a full course load in university while working a part-time job at a shoe store. I had no idea what busy really was. Now, as a husband and a father of two with a full-time job and side projects galore, our family life feels more like a chaotic juggling act. Balancing schedules and priorities while trying to keep up with daily tasks can be challenging, but we do it because we know that at the end of the day, everything we do is for our family's well-being and happiness. We care a lot about our family and we work hard to make sure that our children are growing up in a loving and supporting environment. But in order for that to happen, we need to make sure that we don't lose ourselves in the process. And that can be hard. Erika and I met in 2015, got engaged within a year and walked down the aisle in 2017. And from that moment on, our lives have been a beautiful whirlwind. We've moved across the country, had 2 children, and built careers that we're passionate about. But with all these changes and responsibilities, it's easy to lose sight of each other and ourselves. Along the way, we met people who had relationships and marriages that we admired. People who were able to balance their personal and professional lives while still being able to be deeply connected with one another. And that's when we realized the importance of setting aside time for our marriage, just like we set aside time for work or our children. They told us, it's not about finding time, it's about making time. So, how do we do that? So today is meeting day. Once a week, every week, my wife Erika and I get together and have this 2 to 3 hour block where we just sit down and chat with one another and do 2 things. One, we reflect on the week that we just had, talk about any of the things that we could have improved, any areas that we might have hurt one another, any areas that we saw that there was an opportunity for something better to have happened. And then 2, we look at the week ahead. We divide up household responsibilities, we talk about finances, we compare our schedules, we do all of those things just to make sure that we're on track and on the same page. But why do we actually take the time every single week to do this meeting? There's a couple reasons, honestly, and I'll get to that, I promise. But first, I need to grab a few things. Okay, so the first one is actually pretty simple. It's a time for us to connect. It's a time for us to get on the same page, and it's a dedicated hour or 2 or 3 where we can actually just talk to one another and not get caught up in the busyness of our life. A second huge benefit of meeting weekly is to make sure that our emotional needs are met. Like I said in that first point, we're super busy people, and that means that sometimes we don't check in on each other the way that we should. So having a time to slow down, actually talk to one another and see how the other person is doing is huge for us. Baking ingredients, maybe. And honestly, I think the most obvious reason for us to have this meeting is to stay organized. Some of the biggest fights that we've had in our relationship have come because of miscommunication or not being on the same page or double booking or overbooking. And all those things are so easily avoidable if you just connect and make sure you're on the same page, talk, and kind of get that out of the way. So that's one of the things that we do. And honestly, it's really just a manufactured meeting for us to get together, bond, another opportunity for us to connect and talk to one another, even if it's just for that 1 to 2 hours for that week. So the way these meetings are run is actually pretty important. There's a particular order of things, and we have to tackle them one by one. First and foremost, it's our relationship. Second, it's our parenting and our family. Third is our finances. Fourth is our schedules. And then 5th is basically anything else that we might have been keeping until this meeting that we need to discuss. I'll dive into each of these a little bit more. We start the meeting by checking in with one another, genuinely, seeing how one another is, discussing any potential issues that might have arisen within the week, and use this as an opportunity to work through those issues before they escalate into something big. And it's actually super important that we do this first, because if we're not okay, if we're not on the same page, if we are not seeing eye to eye, it doesn't really matter what's happening in all the other categories. Our family is going to suffer if we're not okay. Our businesses are going to suffer if we're not okay. Our schedules are going to be way out of sync. So first and foremost, we need to make sure that we are good. And if this takes the entire time that we've blocked off, we take that time. And it has happened more than once. But it's important, right? Even if it's difficult, it's an opportunity to have those difficult moments. And there are a lot of different benefits to this. One of them is that if there are small things that happen throughout the week that could potentially derail you during that week, this meeting gives you an opportunity to bring those up in a non-confrontational, non-surprising way, because that's what these meetings are for, to discuss areas that might have been a bit rough, that you wanted to address, but honestly didn't think it was too big of a deal to disrupt everything over. Now, of course, there are going to be issues that are way too big to wait, and we talk about those and have those moments when they happen. But having a designated time and place to talk about our relationship, fix the minor things, and keep moving forward is what keeps us on the right path. And it's something that we've both agreed to. This is really an opportunity for us to talk about what's been working well, what hasn't been working well, what do we want to start, what do we want to stop, what do we want to continue. All of these things change on a week-to-week basis, especially when you have young kids like ours. They're developing so much. And of course, kids are unpredictable. They'll take your plans and laugh at them. But this gives you an opportunity for you and your partner, and particularly myself and Erika, to really agree on an approach. Try it for a week and then reevaluate it. There is no manual for your specific kid, and you just kind of have to learn it and figure it out as you go. Follow some best practices and do the best that you can. But at the end of the day, it's that partnership with your partner that's going to make or break, your parenting as a whole. So that's what we believe, and that's something that we talk about extensively during this meeting. For our finances, we go super nerdy. We budget everything, every single line item, and make sure that we touch every single dollar that comes in. So we assign a job for every single one of those dollars, making sure that we are on track week over week. We know where the money is going. If there is debt, we know how much is being paid down. We know when it'll be paid down. And we have updates in case other things have come up, because life happens. Most of the time, it's a status quo conversation, a pretty quick one that we kind of gloss over. Are we on track? Are we not? Why aren't we on track? Oh, we have a bit more money in this budget, maybe we can reassign it somewhere else. That happens pretty quickly. As long as there's nothing huge and glaring that can't be explained, this conversation is usually pretty quick. But at the very least, it happens because we want to be on the same page and know where this money is going and be aligned on our financial goals in the future. I am notorious for time blocking. I'm a busy guy, and a lot of it is self-inflicted, honestly. But in order to stay on top of things, I use a tool called Notion. So Notion is actually pretty great for somebody like me. Someone that is super type A, that likes to schedule everything and see everything in one spot, even if it looks kind of chaotic. After it compiles all of your events and all the things that you have going on that you've time blocked, then you can layer on your task management. So all the things that you have to do, and then tell it to look at all of your calendars and find a spot for it. Not only does it do that, it prioritizes tasks based off of the things that you tell it. Now you don't have to do the manual work or math in your head about when to prioritize what. Put that into motion, and it's going to tell you when you should start doing task 1 versus task 2, and it's going to determine that by looking at what you already have in your calendar. So it sets the priorities for you and makes sure that you get the things that you need to get done when they're due, and it is a lifesaver. By the way, this is not sponsored content, but Motion, holler at your boy. Now, do these meetings always go well? Of course not. We're human. And if I'm being 100% honest, a lot of the time, we don't even get through the entire agenda. But that's okay. The fact of the matter is, we are setting time and being intentional about trying to get on the same page. And I think that's the difference for us. That's what makes this so important. We are trying to be active participants in our life. We're not just letting it happen to us. We have a plan and we are trying to make it happen. Whether or not it does happen sometimes isn't in our hands, but we are gonna try. And this is a little step that helps us do that.
Hey, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. As Erika and I jump from topic to topic, we often find how crucial this rhythm of meeting weekly has become for us. Life loves to throw curveballs, and with each week tossing something new into the mix, these meetings are like our little strategy huddle. We can dive into the nitty-gritty of day-to-day life and emerge with a game plan. It's like, without these meetings, we're two ships passing in the night, but with them, we're a united front, ready to tackle parenting, work, and everything in between. So we're actually going to wrap up this meeting a little bit early because I'm not sure if you can hear it, but our baby's crying upstairs, so we got to deal with that. But that's kind of how we make up our time. We take our time back by being intentional, planning it out, and doing whatever we have to get on the same page. And no, it doesn't always have to be in a formal meeting where we have this time together. We actually take a lot of that time in those meetings to figure out when are we going to have these quality moments together? When are we going to have date nights? When are we going to take trips together? And how are we going to carve out that into our schedule so that it makes sense and it doesn't put any of our other plans at risk? So that's what we do. That's how we do it. And yeah, we're going to go say hi to the babies. Peace.